Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. We have a very special guest here. We're going to be live from AMERSHAM. We're going to be talking to Andy Gill from Evolve Boxing Academy, or Evolve Elite, which is for the pros. So without further ado, we're going to bring Andy in and we're going to go straight with Andy and have a word with him, get to know about his fighters, a bit more about him, and do it BWTM style. So without further ado, let's get Andy in the room. Andy Gill, how are we doing?
I'm good, Ingram. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Shout out to my boy there, EJ Boxing Live.
Yes, thank you, EJ.
So I've got to give him a shout out, EJ, if you're watching. Boom. So yeah, so a shout out to EJ for that. So great to meet you, Andy. So we're gonna take a look around your gym first, so people can see.
Yeah, we can do that. Just before we start, I'd just like to say I'm honoured. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to have an interview with you.
Fantastic. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Right, let's do it. So let's go downstairs.
Let's get the screen a bit bigger so you can see what's going on here. Okay.
Yeah, let me see. Can I reverse this camera? No, I can't reverse this camera. Right. So this is the downstairs. So this was a testing rig area and offices, and I moved in here 4 years ago. Okay. And I totally dismantled the place. The staircase I moved. So yeah, this is all the downstairs, and I'll just quickly whisk upstairs, and then I'll talk to you in more depth. Wow. Go upstairs, and then so we just had this 18-foot ring.
Nice.
And if you look on the ceiling, there's banners everywhere, just giving little quotes to inspire the boxers a little bit more. We've got a little junior ring. We've had all the canvases done.
Wow.
And then a little weights area, got all the weights equipment. Yeah. So yeah, that's us. That's us. That's
fantastic.
Us. Yeah.
Beautiful. So how long did it get you? First of all, how long have you had that gaff, as they'd say?
I've had this gaff for 4 years now. For 4 years. I took the place on board. Upstairs was offices and downstairs was a testing rig area. And I had a building company, and I give all that up because I wanted to be a full-time coach. I come into the property. I had a little bit of help. A couple of the boxers come and helped me, done bits and pieces. But majority of the work was done by me, and I spent 7 weeks doing the first refurb. So the first refurb was we dismantled all downstairs. We only had about 4 or 5 bags, and then upstairs I left all the rooms and made them into like a weights area, a spinning room, and bits and pieces. And the second refurb happened about 2 years ago, and I totally took upstairs apart, took all the ceilings down, walls, everything, and put the 2 rings upstairs. And that's where we are up to date.
So that is amazing. But kind of what inspired you? What gave you that thing to be a full-time boxing coach?
Well, it's going to sound like a bit of a sob story, and I don't like harping on about it too much, but I got cancer 7 years ago, and I laid there thinking to myself, I want to do something that I'm really that inspires me. That's something. I don't feel like I'm working. I've been doing this for 4 years now, between the amateurs and the pros, and training people one-to-one. And for me, I'm on holiday every day of the week because I just love it, absolutely love it. So, yeah, I got the cancer 7 years ago, and I've worked in a few clubs. I've worked at High Wycombe, St Albans, Northolt, Hayes, and I done my final little bit at a club called IQ in Neasden.
Okay, I know it.
Yeah, you probably know Mr. Miller.
Yes.
So I worked a year there and helped him with a young lad called Plumady he won the nationals. I was around when Yusuf done his Southern Area belt. Yeah, I worked with them, and a few of my amateurs come with me. A few of them have followed me around everywhere, to be honest with you. And then I wanted my own place. I've seen what other people were doing. I've seen the way other coaches were, the way they dealt with people, the teachings, and things I agreed with, things I didn't. And the only way I was going to move forward with what I wanted to do was have my own place.
Yeah.
And, you know, put down, what I wanted into stone and move it forward from there. So that the story from there become young Jamie Smith, who's my cruiserweight. In the amateurs would have been a heavyweight. I had Lewis and Courtney, the twins. I had a young girl called Natalia Rock, who went on to, she went over to Poland. She's joined the Polish team. She fought for the world gold and beat England #1.
Nice.
So she's still in Poland. I think she comes backwards and forwards, but she's in Poland fighting for the Polish team. I think she's in the Olympics as well.
Wow. Nice.
Jamie won the heavyweight belt in the amateurs. The twins won the Southern Area belts. Lewis didn't get a chance to defend it, but Courtney did. Courtney defended it 3 times. They've won Haringey. Natalia won the Haringey Elite Gold.
Okay.
Jamie has won the Haringey Gold. Lewis and Courtney both won the silver. They've won, quite a few tournaments. They come in. I think Jamie come in the semi-finals of the elites, and so did Natalia. So they, as a club for 4 years old, we've in my eyes, I think we've done really well.
You've done well for yourselves. I mean, I want to go back to that whole thing about the coaching. There's nothing for me, or from what I've noticed, more frustrating than watching other people do things and think to yourself, I could do that a bit better. I'm sure I could do that. Don't quite agree with that, but you can't. You're still under the tutelage, or you're still under somebody else's, another man's roof. So when you get the opportunity to get out and express yourself as you are now, it must be a great feeling.
It's for me, coaching. I want to word things so I don't offend anybody at all.
No, of course.
There's coaches and there's coaches. A lot of people think they're coaches.
There's trainers. There's coaches, mentors.
Yeah, there's coaches, there's trainers. The unfortunate thing with this sport of boxing, especially in the pros, when you're wearing them 8-ounce gloves or 10-ounce gloves, people will get hurt. And what some of these trainers are not doing is they don't take into mind that you potentially could get someone seriously injured because you're not teaching them correctly. So a coach for me is not someone who just trains someone to be a boxer. It's every part of their life you have to be involved with. You have to know how they tick inside out. So, it's you need to know when they're not well. You need to know when they've got a headache. You need to know, are they hydrating themselves? Are they sleeping at night? Have they got trouble with their girlfriends? Have they got trouble with their wives? Have the kids kept them up? Are they putting 100% into camp? And as a coach, you have to read all of them situations.
Yeah, but you see, that's the difference between a guy that can do pad work, a guy that can do pad work, and a mentor. Well, that guy that just teach you technique, but teach you a way of life. Because boxing is a way of life, as you know, it's a way of life.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. So some trainers think, well, he comes to gym on time, he does the work in the gym. What he does out the gym is none of my business. But when he's in the gym, that's why I focus on him. No. When he's in the gym, is your responsibility. When he's out the gym, is your responsibility. When he does the bed at night, responsibility. Where is he at 10 o'clock at night? He's out with the party. He should be in bed.
Is he drinking? Is he, is he doing things that he shouldn't be doing? Yeah, that's all a part of it. Yeah, you're a coach for 24 hours of the day.
Absolutely. You're a coach.
Jamie Smith put a quote out, I think after his first fight. He said something like, my coach is my mentor, and when I didn't believe in myself, he believed in me.
Of course.
Now, when they quote things like that, that's when I know I'm doing my job correctly.
Absolutely.
When things like that are said, and they're not saying to blow smoke up me.
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, he didn't get prompted to say anything, but when he said that, it was like, wow, like, you know what? Yeah, well, what we're doing in this gym, it works. And I've heard other people say to me, we can see how close you are with your boxers. They're like your children, and they are, all of them.
The thing is that, and a lot of the old time trainers get very disillusioned because they do exactly what you're talking about here, Andy, but they get burnt. They get burnt because they've built that fighter up, they're taking that fighter a long way, and then comes the promoter and snatches them away.
Yeah.
And then you spend all that time investing in that fighter for that fighter to walk away from you. And that's where trainers start getting burnt, and they start getting bitter, and they start detaching. And what you have there is, look, I train this guy. What he does outside the gym is his business. I'm just getting paid for this. So there's only so much the heart can do as well, Andy. You understand?
Yeah, and I think in the pro ranks, you know, you go to a promoter who doesn't know your fighter from Adam, and he gets a legal contract on him. So why can't the British Board of Boxing say, you know what, if a fighter's with a coach, they need to be contracted to each other? That, you know, it's either a year contract, 2-year contract, 3-year contract. Because what happens with some of these fighters is, so like Jamie, I'll speak more about Jamie because he's had a couple of fights for me, and I believe Jamie has got a bright future in front of him. Now, when Jamie starts getting success and he starts winning a belt or two, you're going to get promoters or other coaches jumping on him going, do you know what? I'll promise you 25 grand or 30 grand for your next fight. They'll make the big promise. He'll jump ship. I believe that he wouldn't. But if he did jump ship, he'll get his 30 grand for that fight, and then they won't bother with him. So I think coaches should have a contract with a fighter. When a fighter comes along, right, how old are you? Right, I'm going to sign you up for 5 years. You have to stay with me, and I have to stay with you.
I think I mentioned this before to two fighters, to a trainer who had two fighters. One is now undisputed champion, and one's the other one. They're both one's a cruiserweight, one at heavyweight. And I said to this trainer, look, you need to have a contract on both of these fighters. Now one guy's gone and become undisputed champion. Had he had a contract, even if the promoter come on and try to snatch him, hey, listen, you put 3 million in that contract, 5 million in that contract, then it's more difficult for that promoter to come and snatch him, or that manager to snatch him away, because there is a release clause. So, okay, I've invested in you. I feel my time is worth 3 million, 5 million, because down the road, this guy's going to become a world champion. There's my investment there. If you're serious about this guy, pay the 3 million, and I'm fine. My heart's not broken. I can open up a gym. I can do what I want in my life. So with that 3 million there, or that 4 million, or that 5 million there as a insurance policy, you ain't going anywhere. If you really want to go somewhere, that'll test the heart of the person that signs with you, because they really believe in you. They ain't going nowhere. So you don't have to. They don't have to release that 3.5 or 5 million pound contract. But imagine the guy now that you're training, he goes and becomes heavyweight champion of the world. How much money is he making as heavyweight champion of the world?
So it's like with Jamie. I took Jamie on board as a keep fitter. So he come to High Wycombe Gym, and I was a coach there. I seen him. And I mentioned to the head coach there, you know, put Jamie into the boxing classes because I see something in him. Yeah. And me and Jamie just had a rapport. We got on really well. Same with the twins. We got on really well. But Jamie, I started with Jamie with nothing. So Jamie then he used to come and train in my back garden. He used to come, and I had a gym in my back garden. So him, Courtney Lewis, all used to come to my back garden and train. And you know, it's how many coaches can say, I've taken someone from nothing and built them to be. So he's been a successful amateur. Now he's had 2 pro fights and he's won both pros. You know, how many coaches can say that? But when Jamie becomes, say, you know, a domestic champion or a European champion, and someone wants to nick him, they haven't got to do nothing with him. I've done all the work. Yeah. You know, I've put in all the effort, and I can't just say I've done it. You have to have a rapport. So you have to have a rapport with someone to produce them. So, you know, me and Jamie have got a lovely rapport. Me and Lewis, Courtney, my son and me are going to have a rapport anyway, because he's my son. Hamza, a new lad that's come on board that I'm looking at the moment. But I've had people here and I've got no rapport with them. So it's like you let them go, because you have to have the rapport to build anything in life. You know, you have to have that rapport.
So Andy, you bring up some very good points there, but one of the points that I really want to hang on to is you building your fighters up and a promoter coming on, taking them, and spin off that and saying we've got a lot of trainers in the country, in this country, that are, I call them celebrity trainers, and a lot of them, I would question whether they have built fighters from scratch and then, you know, got the goods. It's a lot of times they've come from, you know, straight from the elites in amateur boxing. They've won Olympic gold medal, or they've won the world championships, or they've won the ABAs. They've done well in the amateurs, and they've come straight to this trainer because the trainer's got an affiliation with the promoter. But they themselves, they've got almost the finished article there. Do you know what I mean?
I kind of agree and disagree. So I'm honoured because I'm in a situation where I can bring my fighters through. I have got my own gym. I've got a well-equipped gym. Unfortunately, a lot of amateur coaches, not unfortunately, they want to be amateur coaches, and I totally respect that. I totally get that. Sorry, my lights going out. I'll come back in a minute. I totally get it. So, and they don't want to go into the pro ranks. So in that sense, what the fighter's got no choice but to go to another coach.
Yeah.
So, you know, that part of your argument, I disagree with.
Okay.
I was in a situation where Jamie wanted to turn pro, and I turned over pro for Jamie. I had 3 people wanted to join me, and I said no, because I turned pro trainer for Jamie Smith. I didn't do it for anybody else. He was the first one and then Courtney and Lewis are both amateurs that have been with me 7-8 years.
Right.
You know, my son's been around me 2 years. He's been to a few other clubs, and he's only been around me about 2 years now. Not a brilliant amateur record, but his style suits the pros.
Some fighters,
he suits the pros. Hamza he's been with another club. He's had, I think, 17, 18, 19 fights with another club. He's been out the game 2 years, and no one's got a claim to him. So he turned up on my doorstep, you know, and asked the question. I said, well, you're young. Come into the gym and train for 12 months. You know, we got COVID and everything going on. Train for 12 months. Why don't you then go back into the amateurs, try and win the nationals? And then if you do that, then think about turning pro then.
Okay, so why do you suggest him to go back to the amateurs and do that instead of just taking him on as a pro?
Just so he's got something behind him. I'd rather him win something. If he wins something in the amateurs, the confidence is going to go through the roof. Yes. You know, and everybody knows when we start professional boxers off, it's a mismatch. You know, because if you've got the prospect, you have to build them. And you know, you're not, where with the amateurs, everybody wants to fight, everybody wants to win, you know. So you don't get pros going out for their first fight and thinking, I've got to really fight this bloke. Yes, I've got to put on the performance, but you know, it's 99.9% chance I'm going to win this fight. Where in the amateurs, you haven't got that, and you got 3 minutes to prove yourself. You in the pros, you got 4 rounds, and then you go into 6 rounds, 8 rounds, not 10 rounds, 12 rounds. So you've got all that time to, you know, to perform, where in the amateurs it's 100 miles an hour. So for me, it might be that he learns to fight my way. I shouldn't say my way. He'll learn to fight our way, as in I'll take his strengths and make him stronger. I'll take his weaknesses and make him stronger. And that's the way I work. And then if I do that and put him into the amateurs, he's got a chance to prove to himself that he's with the right person before he turns into a pro.
So you're giving him the right foundations before he decides.
Hopefully. And being in the amateurs will prove to him that if he was with me from day one, the proof would be there. but he hasn't been. So Hamza is someone that I'd want to build over 12 months. You know, Jamie kind of got to the stage where the amateurs weren't really doing nothing for him no more. You know, he was struggling with it, because when you work with the unfortunate thing with the amateurs is you've got to be ready 12 hours. You've got to be ready. So it's constantly, you got to be ready. Now, that's not realistic when you've got a job, a child, travel, you got bills to pay, you have arguments with your wife, arguments with your girlfriend. It doesn't work. Where with a pro camp, you have 4 fights in a year and you might have 8 to 12 weeks to get ready. You know, forget your wife. 8 to 12. Sorry, wives. You know, you know. So it suits. It's a more. I think with the day-to-day living, the pros will suit people a lot better.
So how do you separate? Because you've got the amateur gym and you've got the pro gym all in under the same roof. How do you separate?
So the pros train at certain times and they're not around the amateurs. And luckily, because of COVID, the gym's split into 2. So the pros will start an hour before the amateurs do, and they're upstairs. So I've only got 4 to 5 pros. So they're all upstairs working with me. And the pros, the rulings for the pros are slightly different to the rulings to the amateurs. So with the pros, I can do pad work. The pros can spar if they're going to fight. If they've got a fight coming up, so they can spar. Now, the amateurs don't spar. They don't do pad work because of COVID laws, and the England boxing have stated that. So I keep the 2 floors separate.
Do you have the situation where you get the amateurs sparring with the pros all using the top amateurs?
Oh, yeah. Pre-COVID, yeah, because I find when you put them in with the professionals, they get a boost. You know, it's a real boost for them, and they turn it. The pros turn it down, but they walk the kids around. They don't go hell for leather with them. They walk them around, and it's a confidence boost for them. And we have kids who haven't got no self-esteem. They got no confidence, and they move around with a pro. Like Jamie's he's classed as a superstar in here because he's had 2 fights. He's on YouTube. We have his fights on the TVs around the gym. And all the kids is, wow, that's Jamie. So when he does something with them, it gives them such a boost. Yeah.
So I did see Jamie fight at the York Hall briefly. I was there. Yeah. And one thing I noticed about, he's got a big following, hasn't he?
He has, yeah, he has. And
what is it all about?
The thing with us is we're a unit. We're a family unit. So Jamie's ticket sales, majority of them are done by me. Then my second coach, Rob. Rob does. He's got a lot of friends, you know, and Rob can sell 40 tickets with his eyes closed. So you know, we have keep fitters coming. We've got about 350 members in this club. So when we need to sell tickets, and everybody, you know, supports everybody. They know the pros are about, if you don't sell tickets, you don't make money. So, you know, everybody helps out. Everybody does their bit.
Right. Yeah. 350 people, get them all subscribed to BWTM.
There'll be quite a few doing that tonight. I've sent it out to about 50, 60 people.
Welcome to you all tonight. Welcome to you all. So, back to the gym. How has COVID affected you as a trainer, Andy?
When COVID first came in, obviously we had to shut down. You know, the whole country's in a panic. COVID it's serious. You know, if you're not directly involved or you don't know of anybody, people seem to dismiss it. So England boxing brought a load of rules out, you know, and so did the government. So we comply to all of that. The funny thing is, and you can ask anybody who comes to this gym, I am probably the cleanest person you'll ever meet on this planet. So my gym floors before COVID were steamed at least 4 times a week. Woo! The floors get hoovered every day. You see all the equipment downstairs is 4 years old. It all looks brand new. It's all sterilized, wiped down every time we use it. Every
No.
time a client uses it, everything is wiped. All the ropes, everything. Before COVID come, the canvas gets steamed. Before COVID come, all that was done. So I'm doing what I've basically done before, but we've got hand sanitizer up. We've got instructions how to wash your hands. We always had soap in the toilets. But, you know, keeping your distance, having respect. You know, I don't allow people to spit on the ring and I don't allow none of that. Yeah. So, you know, some gyms do that. No, we don't have that here. And everybody's really respectful, as in the sense of if they have got an ailment, they won't come. They will get tested and they will give me, you know, some sort of email or something saying, look, you know, I've had a COVID test, blah, blah, blah. And that's it.
Right. Wow, wow, wow. So when that first happened to you as a trainer and talk about the whole COVID thing, how did that affect your mindset as a trainer and for the fighters? Because obviously confidence and all of that.
I think initially when COVID kicked off, it gave the fighters a rest. You got to think these boys, you have to tell them and force them to rest. They're punching bags, they're hitting pads, they're sparring, their hands are constantly getting abused. You know, with the sparring, you know, you could get body shots, head shots. And I think COVID was kind of good to give them all a little bit of a rest. I think then, you know, into maybe the second month, I think a lot of boredom set in, but I lent them spinning bikes, weights, and whatever they wanted out of the gym, they come and took. And then when we started, you know, I worked with my son a little bit over COVID. You know, me and him used to come to the gym and train and just work together. And it was, for me as a coach, my son kind of broadened the horizon for me because we worked on a hook and we worked on it for 4 weeks. We worked on an uppercut. We worked on it for 4 weeks. And we just mastered shots where I think before I was spending too much time, you know, doing a 3-punch combination, a 4-punch combination, a 5-punch combination, where if we break each punch down and master that punch and get the technique 100%, then we add a second punch to it. We mastered that. Then we added a third, you know, and I think for me, it was, you know, I've always heard in boxing or any sport, repetition is what works. And you kind of lose your track. But working with my son kind of brought reality back to me and made me see things in a different way. So my training regime has totally changed. Totally.
It's almost reverse chaining. What you're basically doing is going right back and breaking each punch down very slowly and doing it to perfection, as opposed to bap, 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 bap. But now you're going bap, 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 and you're getting extra snap of those shots that maybe
so you can throw a shot with a snap. You can just throw it just you know, like a tap, just to get your range, and then you can throw it with power. You know, so we worked on certain things, and obviously we brought foot movement in, head movement. So, you know, it's every shot I try and take the head off a line. If, you know, have a quarter turn, you know, working quarters and halves with your footwork, pivot. Yeah. And then we were doing stuff like, you know, if someone was on, you know, bounced onto you, how you'd use your shoulder. You could put a hand on their back and push them. Yes. If someone grabbed you, you squat down with your leg to take it away from them. Yeah, it was just doing little things with my, you know, with my son and just learning little bits and pieces. I've always done that with all the boys anyway, but COVID made me focus a lot more because I only had one person, and it was the focus, you know. And I was thinking in my head, right, I'm doing this with my son, but you know, I could do this with Courtney. Oh yeah, I've seen Jamie do that, and I could fix that. I've seen Courtney do this, and you start really breaking everything down.
Yeah. That doing that. I mean, the fundamentals are focused on so much more now. So think about if I was to put you side by side, Andy Gill, COVID, Andy Gill, and Andy Gill, normal Andy Gill training, no COVID, and then putting the two fighters next to one another, what do you think in terms of the fighters' development, how that would be in terms of punches and stuff like that? On a parallel universe.
I think Andy Gill, COVID, learned a lot. And I have to thank, you know, I'm not producing this myself. My son had a big part to play in it. Jamie has a big part. Lewis Courtney.
Yeah.
They made me who I am. And Natalia Rock, they've made me who I am. I didn't just get out of bed one day and thought I'm going to be, a good coach. I always say to myself, the day I know everything is the day I give this up. The day, you get coaches who think they know everything. So I'm not. Everybody has their own beliefs. I don't look on YouTube. I don't watch other boxers. I don't watch other trainers. I look at what's in front of me, and I try and dig the weaknesses out and the strengths, and then I produce. I produce with with my boxer. It's not all about what Andy Gill does, and any coach who thinks like that is, for me, is not a true coach. You have to work with these people. You have to have a rapport. If you don't have the rapport, you're not going to get the fighter.
Well, sometimes the trainer thinks they're more important than the fighter, which has always confused me.
Yeah, I think some people, it's like fathers and sons. Some dads push their sons into boxing to relive what they didn't do.
Yeah.
And I think some coaches use their boxers to try and relive what they couldn't do, or what they should have done, or what they wanted to do.
Isn't that dangerous?
Particularly if they don't put it together, it can be very dangerous. Very dangerous. Like I said at the start of the interview, boxing is fundamentally a very, very dangerous sport under the wrong hands. It's like putting someone behind a car who can't drive. Send them down the high street. They lose control of that car. How many people are they going to kill when they run them over? It's basically, that's what we do as coaches. We're putting them into a car, but we're teaching them to drive correctly. And that's what we do. That's the easy way to explain so everybody understands.
It's because you have a conscience, and when you put your head down at night, you've given your all each and every time.
I've had amateur boxers lose fights, and I've cried.
I know that feeling. I've
cried because I feel like they weren't quite ready, and I should have seen that. Or you get gyms that put fighters in, and they've been in the gym for 3 years. How many fights has your boy had, or your girl had? None. Okay. And then you take it as gospel. And then when you get there, you hear people in the crowd go, well, he's been in the gym 3 years, and my kid's been in the gym 6 months. Yeah. So it's not a fair fight. It's not fair. You can get ages and weights and everything right, but experience, whether they've had a fight or not, if they've been in the gym for 3 years and they've been sparring 2 of them years, how many bouts have they really had? 20?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
let me just grab this light, okay?
Okay, cool.
I'm not moving around enough. That's what it is.
So footwork.
It's a sensor light. Yeah, I'll stand here waving.
Okay, I want to talk a lot more about the amateur game. A lot of guys turn pro because they've had frustrations within the amateur game, poor judging decisions. I mean, I've seen guys get beat from round 1 to round 3, or around, and clearly beat a guy pillar to post, and then still get the decision.
Yeah.
When is that going to change, Andy? Or is that going to change?
The unfortunate thing with even pro boxing, I've seen bad decisions with pros.
Absolutely.
But with the amateurs, unfortunately, everybody's a volunteer. So can I stand here knocking judges? I probably can. Can I stand here knocking referees? Yes, I can. Can I stand here knocking coaches? Yes, I can. But we're all volunteers in the amateurs. So without them, with the bad decisions, we either, yes, it's hard, but we either have bad decisions or no fights. Because if these people don't turn up to the fights, these reps and that, all the rest of it don't turn up, we don't have a fight.
Does that prepare a fighter for the pro ranks and the sort of dodgy decision that you can get in pro ranks as well? Or what are we doing here?
I think, I think with the amateurs, it's you know, yet again, it's human error, isn't it? You know, you don't know what some of these judges have gone through, how much traveling they've done. Did they sleep the night before? You know, it's everybody 100% around that thing. I guarantee in life in general, in anything you do, any sport or anything you do, is everybody 100% all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're not.
But they're not.
So it could be, it was, you know, that day as a ref didn't see, you know, if I've had, Natalia was in a fight in a boxing in the elites. She lost it because they couldn't see the body shots. I saw at least probably 45 to 50 body shots that she was throwing because I told her to take the girl's body apart to knock the energy out of her.
Right.
And when she got a split decision against her, when I've asked them the question, the head bloke said to me, we couldn't see the body shots because it's all close quarter. Well, hold on a minute. Boxing, it shouldn't be all about aggression. It should be about how clean a punch is, how you defend, how you move your feet, how you react to things, your awareness in the ring, you know, the respect and manners you have in general. And all that should be taken into account. Not that, oh yeah, well, you're on your back foot and the other one's on their front foot. So they're the aggressor. So they're going to win the fight. You know, so boxing has gone through turmoil, I don't know, 80s, 90s, all the way up. It was about aggression. Then it was about skill. Then it was about clean shots scored. Now it's become about aggression again. So there's, you know, all the time the rules are changing in the amateurs. It's just trying to keep up with it all.
Okay, let's talk the pro game now. Let's turn things around. So for the pro game for yourself, what would be your Andy Gill? What would be your vision at the end of it? When people talk about you at the end of your career as a coach, trainer, mentor, what would be your?
It wouldn't be, and that's gospel. I would want people to say, do you remember that Jamie Smith? He was a world champion. That's what would mean something to me. Remember Courtney, Lewis, them twins? They were Commonwealth champions, British title holders. Remember that Patrick Gill? He was a British title holder. He would become a world champion. You know, that's what's important to me. What Andy Gill stands for is, I built this gym with support. You know, there's a gentleman called John and a lady called Deirdre. They're a husband and wife team, very supportive of me. They've invested into the gym probably 55 grand. I initially put 45,000 of my own money in, and we've built this gym. We can't get that money back because it's a charity now, and yes. I don't want the money back. But I've done all of that. It's funny enough, I was speaking to my son today, and I said to my son, this belongs to all of you. I might have built this and seen the vision and done everything, but this is their home. So when we come to talking about Andy Gill, it's not about Andy Gill. It's Andy Gill has done this because he wants people to prosper. I want people to do good in life. And I'm not saying that to be some, you know, some preacher or trying to come across like I'm blowing smoke up everybody's behind. That's not what it's about for me. For me, it's about my fighters. It's about them sitting down with their children and going, your dad was a pro, you know, and and then it's talking to their grandchildren. You know, back in the day, I was, you know, heavyweight champion or a cruiserweight champion, and you know, we were at Evolve Boxing Academy and we were a family, and you know, Coach Andy was like our dad. They can talk like that about me, but the general public, I'll recognize my boxers. It's not about me. And you'll see, I don't put loads of stuff up about me. It's not about me hitting a bag or me hitting pads or me wanting to fight everybody in the universe, or I don't do any of that because it's not about me. It's you know, I like to keep under the radar. You want to know about me, come and watch my boxers. Whenever they fight, come and watch them. And if you're blown away, or you think, you know what, the skill level's second to none, you know, they've got class about them, that is my reward. That's all I want. Come and watch my boxers.
So that's great, and that's very admirable of you. And it's rare to see in boxing. However, there are times, even as a coach, where the well can run dry. You can be tired. You can have low days. How do you keep yourself going?
I walk in this gym every day of the week, and I love it, baby. I love it. And you know what? I'm here all alone. It's Friday night, and I'm here all alone, and I love it. I love it. If I'm down, I leave my pad and I come to the gym. And as soon as I open that front door, I walk in here and I think, wow, wow. Have we really achieved this in 4 years? Wow. And I'm happy. I'll let you into a little secret. I was ill 2 weeks ago. Got food poisoning. I sat in my flat on my own for 7 days. My missus come and visited me and stood at the bottom of the stairs. My daughter come and visited me, and she come in on one day, and then she come and helped me clean another day to sterilize the whole place. I've lost 10 kilos of weight.
Oh,
yeah.
Was it from a local, Andy?
For food poisoning? No,
yeah,
no. I don't. I'm not going to say. But it's just, I think it was something I bought from a supermarket. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get done for it.
We're going to gun them. We'll gun them. We'll gun them. We'll go through.
But I felt really down last week, and I was ill, and I lost 10 kilos of weight. And I look in the mirror and I think, oh, I was 88 kilos. I'm 77 now.
Wow.
So I've lost a lot of weight, but I'm smiling. You know why? Because I'm in my gym.
Wow.
That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me going.
Let's talk. The other thing I was going to ask you is how does it go for you for sparring and getting sparring for Jamie?
Jamie got invited over to Dillian Whyte's camp.
Okay.
For the POVETKIN fight, and Jamie was over there working with them. So, you know, he got some rounds in with Dillian, and I think it was Alan Savage. Is it Alan Savage? Yeah. You know, so he would have had good sparring with them too. He spars with Mikel from Stonebridge. Okay. Yeah, he works out with him. And there's another lad who's just turning pro called Lee. And Lee will come and move around with Jamie. Obviously, when the COVID laws started slackening off a little bit, and they said that the pros can do that, then that's what we done. So yeah, Mikel and Jamie are good together because Mikel's, you know, he's an advanced fighter. He's at, I think, 15-0 now. Yep. I think he's either ranked number 5 or number 7 in the country, and it's a good learning curve for Jamie. You know, Jamie can pick stuff up off of him, and Jamie's a very established fighter for 2 bouts. Very established. He's a very, very smart fighter. So what did Jamie come back and tell you about getting those experiences sparring with Alan Babich and sparring with Dillian Whyte? What was his Alan was constant pressure. You know, and Alan hits like a rock. You know, so Jamie had to be very careful and be smart about what he was doing in the ring and how he was controlling the situation. You know, so, you know, I said to him, try and learn, you know, defensively, be a lot smoother, because Jamie's got a bad habit of dropping his hands. Right. So, you know, he helped him develop that. Dillian is the body snatcher, and he can hit to the body. And that's one thing Jamie said about him. He said, when he hit you to the body, you knew about it. Right. So Jamie said, as soon as them shots come, he was running. He was going. So, you know, and I think, you know, Dillian's been around a long time. He knows a lot of pro tricks, you know, how to, you know, push people down and grab people and twist people, and, you know, using your shoulders and all the rest of it. And, you know, Jamie picked up, you know, a good few things from that camp. and it's a good experience for him. You know, it's a good learning curve.
On the subject of Dillian, what was your thoughts on the first Povetkin fight?
I think Dillian's always had, you know, good long range. His jab's always been, you know, pretty good in my eyes. You know, he's got good body shots. Povetkin is a master, regardless of his age. Someone like that you can't take lightly. On all the time he's in the ring, you have to be 100% focused, because one shot, like what happened, one shot and it's all over. The thing I didn't see in Dillian was, I didn't see the old Dillian. I didn't see that rugged, what was the word? Yeah, he's there. He's there for a purpose, and he's going to take you apart. Yeah. I didn't see that in him. I thought he was a little bit refined. I think Dillian, next fight, I think Dillian should come out, go, you know, get himself. He was fit. You know, I've seen the camp and I've seen what they've done. You know, I don't think you can really fault what was in the camp. I don't know the duration of the camp. Might have been a bit too long, and he might have overworked himself. But no one's ever going to know that. That's just opinions. But I think if Dillian comes out, the old Dillian Whyte, I think within 2 to 3 rounds, Povetkin's in trouble all day long. But if he comes out and he tries to be all finesse, and you know, he tries to be a boxer, I think you know, the similar thing could happen again.
Now, I'm still trying to work out. Spellman got, I think, 45 days after the Yard fight suspension.
Yeah.
And Dillian got a 28-day suspension. And the knockout that Dillian had was quite a very bad knockout. Head hit the canvas. It was a bad knockout. Whereas Spellman got stopped. And he was taking punches, but he was still able to get up and then protest the referee afterwards. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is that? And is that dangerous, him taking a rematch after such a short space of time and a bad knockout, and then having to go back into camp, spar, and get ready for a fight again?
I think everybody's going to have a different opinion, and you know, I understand from Dillian's point of view, he wants to get straight back in there. Obviously, he's had a camp, and he feels he's fit and ready to go, and he's strong. And I think more than likely in his head, he's got a game plan, and you know, he's got that second game plan now. He's ready to go. He wants it. So as a fighter, I totally get that.
Yeah.
So you know, him wanting it, I totally get it, and I don't think he's wrong. You know, he's passionate. He wants to get that belt back. He wants to get back on the line to fight Joshua or fight Tyson. He needs to be back up there. He's worked too flipping hard. He's waited too long, you know. And him as a fighter, he'll want to go. And any fighter would be the same at that level. What would I do as a coach? Me personally, and this is only a personal opinion. This is not knocking anybody or Dillian. So, you know, Dillian, if you're listening, this is you know, not meant that way at all. If Dillian was my fighter, Dillian would be resting for 4 to 5 weeks. It was a heavy knockout, and he's been in a camp a long time, and for me, he needs normality. If he was my fighter, and that would be him, Jamie, Courtney Lewis, Patrick, any of them, I'd say to him, do you know what? Go and have a bit of normality. Go and spend time with your family. Go and eat some bad food. You know, have a drink if you want it. You know, sleep plenty, relax, give your body your body needs a rest, you know. And then, you know, in that 5 weeks, we'll talk to Matchroom, we'll talk to Eddie, and we'll get a date settled. You know, and if I think the date's the 21st of November.
Yeah.
So, you know, even if we set something up, say for the 16th of December, 15th of December, the 20th of December, it's only 4 more weeks.
But then you clash. You're clashing with Joshua and Pulev.
Yeah, I suppose you are. Yeah, yeah. Well, you could do it a couple of weeks before. Just gives him.
But people are going to pay for 2 pay-per events within a week of one another.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. I didn't think about it that way.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
so,
it'd have to be January time, wouldn't it?
There you go.
January. Yeah, if we could get, and I'm sure Eddie could have got the rematch for then, and I think the Joshua fight would have happened, and it's then Dillian would have fought in January, and then I think you could have more than likely had something maybe March, April.
Yeah.
For Dillian to move forward with the next fight. So, but like I said, there's no rights and wrongs, and everybody's going to have a different opinion. If he was my fighter, that's what I would be advising to him.
I'd like to see him rest and have that time to just chill out for a while.
Yeah.
And heal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You'll be straight back into you might even be going to the Lions Den fighting in Russia. Now, what would you if this fight is in Russia? Is there anything that he needs to be aware of that he may not have to be aware of if he was in the UK, for example?
I think climatizing. I know the day he left Portugal, I think it was about 34, and when he got here, the night of the fight, it was 12 Celsius. So, climatizing, I don't know. It's my mum's from Sri Lanka. We when we fly to Sri Lanka and you open that plane door and you're standing there, that heat whams you. Yes, yeah, for real. It's a backhand. Boom.
Yeah, boom.
Yeah. So, the cold, I think, it might be the same. If I was them, I'd probably, if it was in Russia, if Dillian was my fighter, I would probably try and get him over there 3-4 weeks before the fight and get him training over there and get him climatized to everything and, have him settled.
Is it more dangerous a fight in Russia or in the UK?
If I was Dillian and I'm his coach, I'd want it in the UK. But POVETKIN's got the belt, hasn't he? So he could dictate where he wants it. But yeah, I'd want him to fight on home soil. But Dillian's a warrior. He won't care. Dillian will fight him in the middle of the sea. He wouldn't care. He wouldn't care.
Now that's happened, and now the old Dillian comes back, but you've got the old Dillian coming back, and without being disrespectful, that's almost a damaged fighter going in there because he hasn't had the time to rest. He's going back into fighting again. He hasn't had time to rest, and he's going there. He might not even be 100% to the guy who would be 100%. Had he fought that same style the first time round. Do you get me? So he's going in now.
Yeah, I think the telltale signs will probably be in sparring. When he spars, his coach and team will be able to see what's going on, and they'll obviously, if he is feeling damaged, then his training regime and the way that they train him, they'll have to adjust things. Because obviously the date's made for the fight now, so. Dillian ain't going to back down. He's not that character. He's come too far. He will not back down. And, I don't blame him for that. Like I said before, a fighter has got that in his blood. That's what they want to do.
But doesn't a fighter need to be protected from himself sometimes? And that's what a coach
Yes, but, we're having a conversation and we haven't got the material in front of us. So, if I was around Dillian and I saw Dillian and the way he is and the way he's behaving, I'd know. And that's what I was saying to you about a coach being around someone and you have to be a part of that person. So it's, like Jamie, I can tell when there's something wrong with all of my boys. I can tell if they've had an argument with their missus, if they haven't slept, if they've had a bad day at work. I can tell. So, if I was around Dillian and Dillian was my fighter and I was around him, I'd be able to tell. But I can't answer that question because I can only give you an opinion of what I think. I'm not around him to analyse.
Okay. Moving swiftly on. Another fighter that I would like to talk to you about, which I saw you in the corner with, was my good friend Stay Ready Campbell.
Jerome, yes.
Jerome, yes. And I was, with the greatest respect, I was puzzled at that performance. Can you talk to me about what happened that night and what was going on that night?
Jerome has, so obviously I don't want to offend Jerome. So Jerome, if you're listening, I don't want to offend him, or Earl, his coach. I don't want to offend anybody. I just felt Jerome on that night. I think he took the wrong game plan to the ring. I said to Jerome, my words to Jerome, and Rob, who was the second who was with me, he's one of my amateur coaches as well. He was there with me. I said to Jerome, stay long. Use your jab. Get your backhand set and start using it. Then try and force him onto the back foot, because Nick Bull, when you really analyse him, he doesn't like it on the back foot. He likes to come forward and throw big bombs. And, you know, I'll take my hat off to Nick for, was it 8 rounds? He threw leather like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah, he did.
You know, every single punch he threw had venom in it. You can't sit there trying to tire someone out and assume that they're going to get tired. And I think Jerome was trying to wear Nick down. And then I think by the time he decided he was going to try and fight back, he sustained a lot of damage. You know, even having your gloves up to your face, if someone's hitting that glove, you're still getting part of that. Yeah, you're still getting part of that impact. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that was quite. I mean, it was on television as well, that fight.
I know. It was
extra.
It was a golden opportunity for Jerome. You know, Jerome, the Warren team come up to me before and said, "How do you think your boy's going to do?" And I said, "We ain't come to lose. You know, we've come to win." And you have to have that confidence. And they said to me, if he wins the fight, Frank will get him something else. So he had the opportunity to protect himself. And sometimes these opportunities work and sometimes these opportunities don't. And, you know, unfortunate for Jerome that night, he used the wrong game plan.
How much? So, okay, so trainer's in the corner and the game plan's not working. And you're talking to him. What's the conversation going on? Well, obviously, the game plan, you can see the game plan's not working. What's the conversation between trainer and fighter? How's that conversation?
Well, in the first round, he's come back to me and I've said to him, stay off the ropes, get on your jab. You got to pop the jab, keep popping the jab and keep working the jab. You can win a fight with a jab. You haven't got to do all the flash stuff. Now, he had moments of absolute unbelievable punches he put together. You know, he went down to the body, he was throwing uppercuts, throwing 1-2s, but you can't sit on the ropes. You know, you can't sit on the ropes with someone like Nick Bull. It doesn't work because he will just keep coming and coming. And if you're on the ropes, you're trapped. So I just said to him, when you go out the next round, keep off the ropes, use the jab. Use the jab, but jab down to him. Don't keep jabbing at his head, because if he's moving his head, it's harder to catch. If you jab to the ear, I want him to get the range. If you connect the jab here, get the range and start using your backhand.
You can't move that. You can't be straight there. You can't miss that.
Start using the backhand and then hopefully start pushing him backwards. If you push him backwards, he's going to start getting a little bit unstable. Yeah. Because his game plan now is going out the window because he's to go forward and be aggressive.
And you're breaking a rhythm. When you break a rhythm, you start to break confidence. You start to break confidence. You start to make mistakes. You start to make mistakes. You get open to counters, and there you go. As you know.
And the thing with Jerome is, I worked 6 weeks with Jerome, but Jerome just come down and sparred at our gym with our pros. So Earl's his actual coach, not me. And I helped out because I've got a lanyard, you know, from the British Board of Boxing, and Earl hasn't. So they took the fight, but they had no one to do the corner. And the unfortunate thing is, in 6 weeks, how much rapport am I going to build with somebody? You know, and I'm only seeing them twice a week for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours in this sparring.
But how did that happen about that situation of you training with Jerome in the first place?
It was really, really weird because I didn't even know it was Jerome's birthday. I didn't know it was his birthday. And he put something up on Instagram. So I phoned him or I texted him and I said to him, if you're down, you know, come down to the gym and come and train with me. Come down and, you know, you can, because he didn't have a gym to train in. Because everywhere was closed, and because I had the pros, I was allowed to open up again, but only my pros were coming in. So I said to him, look, if you want to come down and train. And it was his birthday and I didn't even realize. And then about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours later, his coach phoned me, Earl, and I get on really well with Earl. We get on really, he's a nice character.
Yeah.
So he spoke to me and I said, look, come down, do whatever. So there was no mention of me doing the corner. They come down and trained a couple of times. And then Jerome said to me, would you do my corner, Andy? And I said, well, why won't Earl do it? And he said, Earl hasn't got a ticket. And I said, all right, if it's jeopardizing you fighting, then yeah, of course I'll do it for you. So, and then I said to Rob, and Rob said, yeah, I'll come along. We were locked in a hotel room for 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, in a hotel for 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So a fighter like Dillian Campbell, what would happen with Jerome now? What would you suggest to him now after what's happened here? The big moment, it's kind of, he'll probably think about it over and over again and think, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that, I could have done this. What's the words of advice or encouragement you could give him to come back from that?
Right. I don't like beating around the bush. I don't want to say it too honestly because it might come across coarse, and I don't want it to do that. Biggest downfall for Jerome is age. Jerome is 30. You know how much you know how much more life is there in him. So you know, what's he got? 3 years, 4 years at the most. 34. His weight division's a tough weight division. You know, the fighters in his division don't go past 34.
Right.
You know,
he's got
cruiserweight, heavyweights, you know, 40s, they can still get away with it. You know, but in that weight category, you're not going to get away with age. So I think Jerome really needs to break down what he does in the ring. He likes sitting on the ropes quite a lot. He likes tucking up in that peekaboo, like not peekaboo, but yeah, like a Mayweather sort of style. Yeah. So, you know, he likes to sit there and try and, you know, counter punch all the time. But an established boxer will learn to do everything. He will learn on the front foot. He'll learn on the back foot. He'll learn to counter. You know, he'll learn to work off of defenses. But you have to be a rounded boxer. You can't just, you know, as soon as someone comes at you, go into the ropes and try and, you know, do all that shuffling stuff. And you have to learn the whole game. So I would, the advice I'd give to Jerome is, you know, your weaknesses, strengthen them. You know, your strengths, round them off.
Nice. Fantastic. Let's talk, just to close up now, let's talk about some fights that are coming up. Big fights this weekend. We have an interesting one with Richard Harding. Harding?
Yeah, Hardy, yeah. It's
a good fight.
It is a very good fight. It's just, yeah, I think it's hard to call it, to be honest with you. It's hard to call it. Yeah.
It's a good matchup.
It is. It's a very good matchup. Yeah, I think it's pretty equal. I don't know. It's a real hard one to call. Real hard one. Yeah, I'll be lost to call for that one.
You've got the Charlos this weekend that are fighting.
Who?
The Charlos. The Charlo.
Yeah,
brothers.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you watch them fight all or not? Or
I'll be totally honest with you. I don't really follow a lot of fighters. I don't really follow anybody, to be honest with you, as in boxing.
I understand that.
Yeah, I have I have a view of what I do and how I do it.
Right.
And I learn from the people around me. So,
Right.
you know, I'll have coaches who haven't been coaches for too long. They'll do little things and I think, wow, I like that.
Yeah.
My fighters will do certain things and I think I could use that with the amateurs. Or the amateurs will do something and I think, oh, I could use that with this and try it with the pros.
I understand. I hear that.
I think developing people with a clear mind is the best way to develop someone. When you've got I don't know, it's like putting a recording into your head. You watch something, it's like a recording. You watch it and watch it and watch it, and then you think, right, well, yeah, I'm going to teach my boxer that, but how are you going to teach it to them? It's like, you know, I go to Mayweather. You think Mayweather fought like that all the time?
No.
He didn't. He didn't fight like that as an amateur, and he didn't fight like that when he first started as a pro. But he was around that all his life. So he's practiced and practiced, and his dad done it, his uncle done it, and they practiced and they practiced and they practiced. And then, you know, he mastered fighting like that. And then you get, you know, coaches who will watch him and fighters that will watch him, and then they try to reproduce it, and it just doesn't happen.
Well, Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Prince Nassim Hamid, and Roy Jones Jr. are the reason for most fighters getting knocked out because people copy that style. These guys do this knee high. I was watching an interview with Mayweather today, and he was talking about the guys he had when he was at school. He said, listen, I'd be at school and all I'd be thinking about is I have to be in that gym. No matter what happens, I have to. And it was a schoolboy. I have to be in that gym. I have to be in that gym. No matter what happens, I'll be in that gym.
And that's how you, and that's how you learn your craft. But unfortunately, a lot of people watch YouTube, watch, you know, all these fighters, and then they think they're going to reproduce it overnight. It does, and then they get themselves into a situation where they're going to seriously get hurt.
Trouble.
You know,
trouble because it's not natural to them.
No, it's not. It's not. The amount of fighters I've seen trying to do that, Mayweather, they roll their shoulder, but they roll and then go back.
And they get
their chins up in the air.
Left hook.
Roll and go down. Well, why are you going up?
Throw the left hook, right hand through.
Yeah. Well, why are you sticking your chin up in the air? You know, and if you want to perfect it, do it with a friend. Get a friend, and if you're gonna watch the video and you want to try and perfect, you know, get it perfect, then get a friend and try and reproduce what they're doing. You know, but seriously, you know, boxers out there, or not boxers, but people who are coming into the amateurs, forget Mayweather, forget all the pro stuff, forget it. Your basics should be your chin should be down, your chin should be in your shoulder, your hand should be, your backhand should be tight. That cheekbone, it should be stuck on there. Your elbows should be tucked in. Take little steps forward, little steps backwards, little steps to the side. You know, if you're going to the right, move your back foot first if you're orthodox. You know, if you're going to the left, move your front foot first. You know, if you're southpaw, you're doing it the other way around. But it's learn all your fundamentals first. So my coaching staff, and I'm going to give them a shout out, Rob, Brendan, Jules, and Joe. They're all volunteers. They all come and help me with the amateurs. We're all on my page. So we all do chin down, chin tucked into the shoulder, lead shoulders pointing forward, hands tight, elbows tight, little movements backwards and forwards. Then we learn to jab. We get the jab 100%. And we throw the jabs in a few different ways, but we get the jab 100%. Then we learn how to throw our backhand 100%. From there, they will then learn how to throw an uppercut and a hook, body shots, but then the coaches can put their little stamp on everything. You know, but the fundamentals we all teach the same. All of us.
Show me a right hand. It'll take me around the corner. Show me a jab. It'll take you around the world. And
Yeah.
that's how I fought.
Yeah. Yeah. My pads with the pros, and you can ask any of my pros, and hopefully you can interview a couple of them.
Yes.
We do pads, and we do at least 4 rounds, 3-minute, 4 rounds of throwing the jab.
Yeah.
Single, doubles,
that's how
3 jabs in, 3 jabs out. That's all we do. And they complain to me, God, my arm's aching. Yeah. And the backhand is here.
Yeah.
And they're doing this with the backhand there in the backhand. That's it. And they're throwing the jab. And that's what we do for 3 to 4 rounds before they throw anything else. And Jamie, as good as he is, and he's going to get better, the fundamentals is what we do every day of the week. My son, you know, he's a powerful kid. He can hit hard. Fundamentals is what we do. Lewis had a phobia about his jab. He doesn't throw his jab because he's short. Now he throws his jab. He just throws 3, 4 shots at a time. Courtney didn't believe in his backhand, straight backhand. As an amateur, you know, now he throws it all the time.
I tell you, I had a funny experience with my trainer once years ago, and he said to me, "Keep your hands up." Do you know why you keep your hands up? I said, "I don't know." So he kept going. He goes, "Oh, you think you're Muhammad Ali? Do you think you're Muhammad Ali?" You know, the trainers. And then he's back there. "So you Muhammad Ali? All right, keep going." So I was in the ring. I was throwing a jab. I dropped my hand, and he clapped me with a pad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I do.
It was ringing.
Yeah.
It's still ringing today. I'm like, what's that for? Keep your hands up.
But the thing is, that pad is going to do a lot less damage than an 8 or a 10-ounce glove.
Absolutely. That ringing. Every time. He said, "Oh, you got to put your hands up. Put your hands up. Put your hands up."
That's it. That's it. Yeah, I do routines where I whack them with the pads. We do a points system. How many points I can get?
That is it. But it's things like that I will always remember and appreciate for my training, because he's like 5'0", and he says, "Oh, what? You won't do that, will you?" He'll put the gum shield in his mouth, and he's 5'0". All right, come on in, put your hands up, and he's just throwing hooks all the time, vicious hooks. He's like a little featherweight, but he just keep your hands up.
He said it takes one shot.
It is.
One shot. One shot.
He says, "I'm not having you embarrass me in them amateur shows. Do you hear me? Keep your hands up." You get knocked out because your jab ain't going. Do you hear me? And I just remember the thoughts going past my chin and remembering, keep your hands up.
You soon put your hands up. You remembered. And it's got to be done. It's got to be done.
The memories. Boxing is such a, you know, you can watch it from the outside. I think, I'll do that. I'll do this. I'll do that. But the real test is when you're tired and it's been you. Then Friday night, you could be out with your mates in the pub with your girlfriend, and you're there and you're on the ropes and you're soaking up body shots, and you should be there, and you're tired and you're thinking, "Why am I here?" And your trainers look at you, go, "One more round, mate. One more round tonight." Yeah. And that stuff is, you have to actually be in it and feel it to really understand
believe it.
The other fighters, but the trainers as well, and where they're coming. You know. Final question before we close off. 2 fights. Joshua versus Pulev. Your thoughts? And is it a walkover?
At that level, I don't think anything's a walkover. You know, I think any heavyweight is dangerous. I'm sorry, mate. My missus is still trying to phone me, and I can't take the call, so you'll have to wait. Any heavyweight's dangerous. It's one punch and it's all over. So you have to be sensible in what you're doing. Any punch at all. So yeah, Joshua should win it. You know, Joshua's he's got a good range of style on him. So if he sticks to that, he'll do well. If he lets his guard down and that one punch comes his way, he's going to be in trouble.
Okay, and Fury Wilder 3. Can Wilder make any adjustments?
Yeah, don't wear that suit.
Would you have allowed him to come out with that suit? As a friend?
Would I let him come out with that suit? Not if it weighed, what did he say, 40 kilos? 40 pounds. Yeah, what's that, 20 kilos?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, he's a big strapping lad, but I wouldn't have let him come out with a suit like that. I wouldn't have done that. And the thing with Wilder, would I say he's a terrific boxer? Personally, no. Has he got power? Yes. Has he got? My missus must be in trouble because she will not stop trying to call me. Has he got? He's got power. He's got leverage, and he's dangerous. Okay. Like I said before, one punch. He's got that one punch, and he relies on it and relies on it. Fury, for me, is probably the best pound-for-pound heavyweight on the circuit at the moment.
Okay, we're going to leave you and let you get your missus. Thank you so much, Andy, from Boxing Academy. Thank you so much. We really appreciate talking to you. Right. We're going to let you go right now. Andy, thank you.
God bless. Thank you, my brother. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye. So there you have Andy Gill from Evolve Boxing Academy and Evolve Pro. So we got a real in-depth with him. Next time we'll get Jamie and the rest from the club. I hope you enjoyed it. Those of you who are new to the channel watching today, please hit the subscribe button. There's lots of goodies and interviews. If you're an Errol Spence fan, we've got the interview of Derek James here, and we've got interviews with Mike Tyson's former trainer and many more. So check it out. Their gym is in Amersham. It's the Evolve Boxing Academy of Andy Gill. And of course, he's got the pro gym there as well, you've seen, called Evolve Boxing Pro. Right, let me get out of here. This has been BWTM with another exclusive. We're out of here. And EJ Boxing Live, thank you so much.